Late night TV ratings are crashing so hard on Colbert and Kimmel that Fox News, yes, Fox News, is now taunting them. Sean Hannity saying that they're on cancellation watch as they go completely off the rails. Trump's first 100 days have Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert wailing. We'll tell you why they're failing, and it could be the end of late night TV. Hello, folks, and welcome back. What a joy it is to have you here with us. A studio in somewhere sunny USA is glistening now that you're listening to the latest when it comes to entertainment news. Folks, as we get underway, consider helping us not lose today by clicking the like button, and let's get underway right now. Out of Fox News, late night hosts rate Trump's first 100 days, say grade falls between F and U. There seems to be a joke in there somewhere. I got a feeling.
Is it the fudge again?
Yeah. We're at cruising altitude, people. The seatbelt sign is off. Hey, where'd that go? And the pilot is aiming straight at the mountainside, one host said of Trump's 100 days. Now, we're not going to get into the politics of this, folks, but we just want to let you know that we are on cancellation watch now for the late night TV shows. And I'm not kidding. Like, after what has happened with these payouts to Trump from the networks, and the networks seem to have been involved in things that have caused them to lose lots of money, they're not going to be wanting to stay very much longer with late night. Late night hosts gave their own grades for President Donald Trump's first 100 days on Wednesday, and they were the opposite of flattering. That's shattering my perspective of late night. Network host Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Fallon, and Stephen Colbert, as well as cable late night host Jordan Klepper. Who? Jordan Klepper? Come on, Fox. Listen. The top row of these people aren't watched, let alone Jordan Klepper. Tore into Trump on Tuesday, the 100th day of Trump's second term. It is difficult to give Trump's first 100 days a grade, but if I had to, I'd say it falls somewhere between F and U, the Jimmy Kimmel Live host said during his monologue. The ABC host slammed Trump, remember he's Disney, with several sarcastic quips. I've had a day of revelry and jubilation as I celebrate Donald Trump's 100th day in office, he said. I assumed there'd be a big round of applause. No, we have 100 days behind us and only 13 more 100 days to go. It's been an historic 100 days, some would say prehistoric. Over on CBS, Colbert read aloud an NPR poll on Trump's first 100 days. By the way, we talked about that with Mark Mitchell. We think the whole polling thing is a giant psyop. Let's leave it there for Fox News for right now because I need to show you something really important. As these late night hosts are gloating and telling you just how terrible things have been, and again, outside of politics, you would have never seen any of them do this with Biden. That's the difference. That's what we're focusing in on. They're ultra hyper partisan. They're MSNBC hosts in disguise. Well, look, it turns out that audiences despise them. From TV News Now, Fox News, Gutfeld crushed the broadcast late night competition in April, leading the 10 p.m. hour across the board. Remember, Gutfeld is on a cable channel. You have to be subscribed to his cable channel in order to watch him. The networks are piped in via government airwaves, and that's why, by the way, CBS is paying a lot of money to Trump, is because the FCC is saying, oh, no, you don't. You're going to be less partisan. You're not going to be involved in DEI, et cetera. That's that whole deal. They're piped into every single home via government airwaves, your airwaves if you're an American. Despite that, Gutfeld, at a huge disadvantage, beat all of them. Gutfeld won 3.1 million viewers on average, which walloped CBS's The Late Show with Stephen Colbert at 2.5 million viewers. ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live at 1.5 million viewers. NBC's The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, 1.1 million viewers. Late Night with Seth Meyers at 750,000, and Comedy Central's The Daily Show with 497,000 viewers. Can I tell you that if you look at the demo, it gets worse? What is the demo? The demo is the group of people who buy stuff, the people that the commercials are aimed at. Now, why would things be going poorly? Well, let's go back and watch Jimmy Kimmel and just see where things went off the rails, okay? Why is it that late night is collapsing to the point that they may pull them in the next couple of years? I was originally putting this at 5 to 10 years before late night is gone. It may be gone before the next election. Here's what Kimmel was saying. And by the way, take a look to the right, because this is a shot across the bow. At the same time that Gutfeld is beating them on a cable news channel, Sean Hannity, the 9 p.m. guy over at Fox News, says, I see Kimmel wants a fight, so let's give it to him. And by the way, Hannity just posted this yesterday. Jimmy Kimmel desperately needs attention as his pathetically low-rated show is officially on cancellation watch. I'm only too happy to oblige. Let's first remind people of who the real Jimmy is. Will the real Jimmy please stand up? Sean Hannity is mocking Jimmy Kimmel and saying he is on cancellation watch. Here's why.
But the rest was not great. Let's be honest. It was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go.
This is Jimmy Kimmel crying after the election.
For healthcare, for our climate, for science.
Can you imagine if there was a clip of Johnny Carson crying after Ronald Reagan was elected? Seriously, people, think about that. Think about it. There's no clip of Johnny Carson crying after Reagan was elected. There's no clip of Jay Leno crying after George W. was elected. You know why? Because man babies weren't running late night at that point.
For journalism, for justice, for free speech, it was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth.
Weeks later, the people that he elected to run California would watch as an area the size of Paris burned to the ground while they celebrated an election in Ghana. Well, I'm going to continue to note that Gutfeld over on Fox News, and I'm not trying to toot the horn of Fox. I'm not trying to celebrate Fox. I'm just trying to lay this out so people understand where we are. Colbert and Kimmel fashion themselves as cultural icons. They're not. They're ghosts of the past. And in this case, although this is not always the case, I don't always agree with Hannity. In this case, I think they are on cancellation watch. Panel, what say you?
Well, we know what's going on over there at CBS and Paramount. That's for sure. There's some external factors at play that might be influencing that decision. But Jimmy Kimmel, it's been a very interesting case here. We saw that he did not host the Oscars this year, which was pretty profound, alarming. Usually, that's Disney's go-to guy for that specific work right there. So that's very, very interesting. And well, I mean, we're also hearing that the Oscars might actually be sold off eventually. That's a whole other thing right there. But Jimmy Kimmel's criticism of Trump has definitely placed Disney in a unique position, and it might be not too dissimilar from what we're actually seeing with CBS and Paramount, in that no company wants to be in the crosshairs of this administration. No company wants to make themselves a target, and Jimmy Kimmel, in a way, has. And I do believe, if you're not even concerned with the politics aspect of it, the ratings aspect of it has been really detrimental when it comes to focusing so heavy on politics from Jimmy Kimmel's perspective, which nobody's, I would guess, not all too interested in, especially post-election here. It's I mean, I think Fox News was right to rib Jimmy just a little bit over this.
You know, when it comes down to it, late night has been a historical institution more than it's been current entertainment. In the same way that Saturday Night Live will get in this phase where everyone wonders who is watching this thing. And then if you check Deadline the next day, they'll have like 10 articles on an episode of Saturday Night Live, sometimes twice on the same sketch, waiting the next day. These kind of shows are very popular out in California, apparently, or at least with the people who run the media out in California. I don't know that they're relevant to most of the United States. And as stars on social media have worked so hard to make sure that they are now divisive instead of uniting, as the relatability of these stars becomes a more pressing marketing idea here. I think the institution itself of late night television is suffering because no one likes appointment television. No one cares what these celebrities have to say. And the humor is not good enough to bring in an audience. So it's not even worth watching after the fact. So I think that this is something that will only be of interest to a very specific set of people people who happen to be watching television on a regular basis at the time that these people are on. And I don't think that there's a growing segment in that demographic.
I have to agree with you. And it's looking to me like late night is definitely on the endangered species list. I just, I don't think people are interested anymore. I think the legacy media has ended itself by trying to lead people astray, and people caught on to the way they were doing it. That's why you've got people like Colbert coming out there and talking about these polls and everything. And I don't care what the poll says, like if the poll gets it right, but if Mark Mitchell at Rasmussen, which was the most accurate pollster in the last election, if he's right and there's an effort to mislead America and the world through coordinated, perhaps, polling across various companies, and that's disseminated through things like late night, I'm over it. And I think Americans are as well. I think people want to go back to the middle. I don't think they like this far left stuff.
I think you're absolutely right there, Pro. Think about this. When was the last time you saw anything trending about a late night host that wasn't relevant to politics, like something with an actor, an actress, or some kind of amazing joke they made? Every time you see them being talked about, it's always about a president or a politician. When was the last time that was different?
Yeah, I go back to that. I go back to the comment I made earlier, where I said you can't find a clip of Johnny Carson crying because Ronald Reagan won. You can't find a clip, and I don't know what Johnny Carson's political views were. You can't find a clip of either Jay Leno or Dave Letterman crying because Clinton or Bush or anybody won, because these guys didn't wear diapers. Jimmy Kimmel is a joke. He doesn't tell jokes. He is the joke. And I don't want to be mean, but I think he's mean. I think he's actually cruel to the people that he disagrees with. And so we got to call this out and say, listen, late night has been turned into a laughingstock, and not for the reasons that it should be. And it's now on the edge of destruction because you all destroyed it. You all sacrificed it on the altar of politics. And that's a sad thing, because this was an American institution. This is something that Carson and Leno and Letterman and Conan, all those guys built. And these people destroyed it. They are deconstructionists. They don't build things, they destroy.
Well, and
Gutfeld
again,
but if viewership from 5-10 years ago, Gutfeld wouldn't even come close. Late night was pulling 10 million viewers. Go ahead, Culture.
yeah, but quarter over quarter, the only show that's been rising has been the Fox show Gutfeld at the 10 o'clock hour. Everything else that launches at 11 or 11:35 are all suffering massive losses. The only thing that's not a double-digit loss is the Daily Show, but it's still down 2% over last quarter. Whenever they release these numbers over on the latenighter.com, you can check each quarter for quarter and figure out where these shows land. And Gutfeld's audience is increasing, and he's got a giant chunk of share and share in the demo. There's just nothing that competes with him. Colbert may be gaining audience, but it's all people outside of the demo, which, well, I mean, it airs on CBS, so they're all like over 60. CBS is the over 60 network. So when you're looking at all these numbers, you have to understand that the people who actually buy things are not watching, the shows that they should be. They're instead watching Gutfeld. Everybody's spending their time on Gutfeld, and nobody wants to stay up late anymore, which is really weird.
Coach, we've covered this. Mid-sized YouTube channels, have more audience in the demo that matters than Jimmy Kimmel,
which is insane. But Gutfeld is, he's got a 7.45% share across all viewers, right? And in the demo between 18 and 49, the guy is living up at 3.2% share of everybody that's watching anything at that, in the commercial interest. It's up 9% versus last quarter. All these other things are falling off a cliff. Look, the Kimmel Show fell down in the demo 24%. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert fell down 17%. Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, who just wants everybody to like him, still dropped 14%. So again, this is a commercial business. You have to sell commercials in order for, your shows to work or pay for themselves. And late night is not paying the bills. Nothing's paying the bills right now. We're watching massive declines in viewing, and it's not just because people are cutting the cord. Otherwise, guess what? Gutfeld would be disproportionately affected, and he's not.
They're being subsidized, Culture.
Oh yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I can't say this with absolute assurance, but I'm pretty darn sure that the late night shows are being subsidized by somebody who wants their political opinions out so that they can try to make them go viral. That's the whole game here. The late night has been co-opted. Late night isn't about comedy. Late night isn't even, I don't think, about getting celebrities out there to hawk the latest Hollywood goods. Late night has become something that's maybe even Soros-led at this point, where you watch it and it really seems like they're trying to get a 5-minute or a 1 minute or whatever, some sort of clip that they can get to go trending on X or YouTube or TikTok that will take a political pot shot. That's the whole game here. That doesn't make money, but it's a political weapon that they took Johnny Carson's house and turned it into a barracks for the far left.
Yeah, I think that you're not overstating it. They've really basically become a politicized weapon, and that's all they do anymore. And it's rare to see a show where they actually perform anything that has any kind of variety, any kind of high quality skit that doesn't involve, big pharma, or something that's happening in the current administration. Prior to that, all of their material prior to November 4th was aimed somewhere else, and it was all casting shade on at that time, the candidate Trump. But set all that aside and just look at the fact that there is no doubt, in order to pay these salaries, that they're being promoted in one way or another by one industry, and it's an industry that they like to pretend that they're paying attention to in a negative way. And again, I'm going to say, without, you didn't say this, Pro, I said it. Big Pharma is writing checks for all this stuff. That's it.
I think you're right, and that's why I'm changing my estimate for how long this lasts. Because if RFK manages to make pharma ads go away, I think late night goes with it.
Wow.
So something to watch indeed, folks. We'll keep an eye on it. Panelists, anybody else want to weigh in on late night before we wrap this up and go to Super Chats?
The only thing I'll add, and then I'll let everybody else speak, but I'm going to say it this way. These shows used to play it safe, and that used to just be what they did. And now they only play it safe as long as it's then safe to take a shot at something. So Colbert was the only person that I can recall taking a shot at the opioid crisis recently. And again, that didn't have any cost, because everybody had already been massively affected and informed about this particular crisis that we were suffering, right? And so it's only once something is then deemed safe that these guys do anything. They don't do anything edgy if it's going to make what they support look bad. And that's that didn't used to be a part of any kind of comedy show, whether it be Saturday Night Live in particular, which we didn't even talk about, but any of these other nightly shows that I think have no relevance at all. And I think Jonas said, put the writing on the wall that these things all reside in the past. There's nobody in the future that's watching them.
That's right. Culture, what are you drinking out of? What do you have down there at the bottom of your screen? What's in there though?
Oh, coffee. This is my Star Wars tumbler. It's just, I can't show you where I'll dump it out, but it's
checking. Coffee. Just checking. I had heard rumors, Culture, vicious rumors, that now that RFK is banning dyes and bad stuff in foods and drinks, that you were starting an entire wine cellar of Mountain Dew.
Ooh.
Saving the Mountain Dew that is today that may not be there. That might go away.
I have to tell you, Mountain Dew used to be great, as was Coca-Cola and everything else, before they moved away to some questionable ingredients and coloring items. So
then you're not on the list of people who are saving barrels and barrels of
I'm the freak show that takes lemons, fresh squeezed lemons, and puts them in ice cube trays, and then I put those in my water bottle.
All right, Cave Johnson.
Yeah.
All right, Cave Johnson.
All
right, Jonas. It's time to get to the Super Chats. Let's put them up on the screen. Folks, it's time to bid you adieu, but we hope that you will help us anew, and that is, we're only asking you click that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. it is the notification bell and drop a comment down below. And oh, by the way, have you gone the way of thatparkplace.com? www.thatparkplace.com. It's the website that if you're not yet bookmarked to, well, you should be. A bastion of truth and knowledge when it comes to entertainment and everything that's going on. Go check it out today, folks. We would love to have you over there as well. All right, we are getting ready to head out, but do not fret, for we will put out 4 more videos tomorrow, so long as the good Lord allows. And we believe that probably, just might, happen. All right, until the next time we get to share time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Hey, Floral, guess what?
You put a fork in Pro's microwave again.
No, that was yesterday.
I don't know that what.
Oh, I've decided to give up on torturing Jonas.
What? Why? In the same way the cat sleeps like 20 hours a day, that was like your purpose.
I know, but I've decided there's bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
Like Lorne. I mean, think about it. Everybody loves him. He's a fan favorite, and frankly, he has almost no weaknesses I can find. Except that he's really smart.
So, you want to annoy the one panelist without a single flaw, because he's smart.
Yeah, like that winged statue at that fancy Paris museum thingy. I want to break the one thing that everyone loves most.
So, kind of like the opposite of Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, exactly. And I get to see her all the time at family reunions anyway.
You get to see Rachel Zegler?
Yeah. She's a total troll. Lives under a bridge, harasses billy goats, the whole 9 yards.
It all makes sense now.
Speaking of which, maybe she'll get me... Okay, I'm gonna call her on my... I'm gonna call her and see if she'll be in the next Indiana Jones. She should be the next Indiana Jones. That'll totally destroy Lord. He loves Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's cruel.
Hey, Rach. I've got a cool idea for you that involves a whip and snakes.
I love that description. It's perfect.
I know, right? Weird, as we always say.